I'm sure that Dr. Richard Conte, who is a demographer, has explained to you
yes, sir.
satisfactorily what a census is and for what purposes census data is used. Census is a constitutionally mandated population count which takes place every 10 years. That is why it is called decennial census. The last decennial census in Sierra Leone was in 2015, and that was under the APC government. And as far as I'm concerned, that is the only credible data for development purposes that we have now in Sierra Leone. I always say that the first political census in the history of Sierra Leone is the 2021 midterm census. It was a political census. Why? Because it was premeditated and designed to support the creation of Bandajuma and Panguma districts. And was also designed to tell the world that Kenema is more populated than Freetown. Because that was the outcome. The ridiculous outcome of that census was to tell the world that Kenema is more populated than Freetown. That is so dangerous. That means you should be sending more resources to Kenema based on that skewed data instead of Freetown, which is the capital and which is probably twice more populated. It was done for political purposes, as I said earlier. And so at the present time, there is no credible data in terms of census that can be used by our development partners or by the government, and even for electoral purposes. That is why, for the 2023 elections, the Electoral Commission used what they refer to as a hybrid. That is, taking part of the 2015 census data and part of the 2021 midterm census data, blend it, and come out, think of any number outcome. So that is where we are. And I can tell you from reliable sources that the development partners, our development partners, would not allow a second discredited or skewed census to take place in Sierra Leone. That is why they have withheld funding. That is why, for the first time, they have sent a permanent representative to be stationed here in Sierra Leone, representing UNFPA to monitor the census, and that is Dr. Adebayo, who is presently in Sierra Leone. And let me also report to this forum that for the first time in the history of census, the APC leadership, in its wisdom, set up a census committee of technical experts, which I am heading. And we have been monitoring the census. Unfortunately, the mindset of Statistics Sierra Leone is political. They are looking for a political outcome while we are looking for a credible outcome. And they are conducting the census like a secret society.
I don't know if it's just me, but we've lost you, sir. We're not getting you. Is it just me?
Can you get me now?
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So, as I said earlier, the intention of Statistics Sierra Leone is different from our intention. Statistics Sierra Leone wants to justify the discredited 2021 census that was held, which I call the political census. They want to justify that Kenema is more populated than Freetown, which is not the case. So they're operating like a secret society. They're hiding everything from us, and we have to fight to get the necessary credible information. Let me give you an example. Once the proclamation had been made, first in September of 2024, for a census to be held in December of 2025, few months after, they came back and deliberately postponed the census to December of 2026. Why did they do that? They did that to justify and for it to tally with the provisions of Section 38B of the Tripartite Agreement, which states that if any census data is released 24 months before the actual census, then that data should not be used for the purposes of the delineation of constituency boundaries. So it was a trap. So they deliberately postponed it so that it will fall outside that deadline of 24 months, so that they will go back to the 2021 census data, which is political, or at best a hybrid of 2015 and 2021, which will be to our disadvantage. So the position of the party is to say that 38B should only apply for the 2033 elections, not the 2028 elections. For the 2028 elections, because a bill has been introduced in Parliament to say that for the purpose of this delineation of constituencies, only decennial census data should be used. And the last decennial census data is that of 2015. So that is on floor. And that is why the census was deliberately postponed even after His Excellency had made the proclamation. Of course, he should have made the proclamation with expert advice. He's not a statistician. He's not a politician. He must have been advised by Statistics Sierra Leone. So how do they come back a few months after, realizing their mistake and say, oh, no, now we are going to postpone it? And then they postpone it to fit with, to go against of the provisions of Section 38B. And after the postponement, there are certain preliminary processes that have to be made. The first was the pilot cartographic mapping. As Dr. Austin has just said, cartographic mapping is the delineation of the entire country, mapping of the entire country into what you call enumeration areas. An enumeration area is like a block. Say, for example, in Freetown, you take from Hill Station to Shaka Stevens Stadium to the Cotton Tree in a square, and that could be referred to as an enumeration areas. And all of the population within that area are then assessed. In a rural setting, it's between 300 and 450. And in an urban setting, it is between 450 and 600. So what did they do further? They made sure that areas in the northwest of the country where APC is regarded as a stronghold are disadvantaged as against the southeast. For instance, Pujehun has 6 constituencies and Tonkolili has 10 constituencies, but Statistics Sierra Leone sent more mapping teams to Pujehun than to Tonkolili or Bombali, for example. so that they had a predetermined outcome. So when the committee compared the census data for 2015, Pujeon throughout the exercise had about 540 enumeration areas. Now, in only the first phase, it was divided into four phases. Only phase one of the pilot cartographic mapping, Pujeon already had over 800 enumeration areas. That was information that we got from other sources. Statistics Sierra Leone did not release that to us, and up till now, they have not released to us the disaggregated data resulting from the cartographic mapping. And in direct answer to Dr. Austin's questions, yes, the cartographic mapping has ended. It has finished, but we still don't have the disaggregated results. They're withholding it from us, and they are releasing it in bits. They are releasing it by percentages instead of number of enumeration areas per district. That is deliberate, because progressively they will be looking at the up or down trajectory of the enumeration areas and decides whether it fits into their political narrative or not. So now they're telling us that the real reason why they're not releasing it is because it is subject to change, that they have to clean the data. And once they clean the data, the figures might go up and down. So it is an uphill task with Statistics Sierra Leone. Indeed, we are members of the advisory committee. That is the APC. We have a technical representative there. But they are withholding information from us. And they are not sensitizing the public enough on the movement of the staff of Statistics Sierra Leone, so that the staff should know when they are doing pilot cartographic mapping. And one thing they did that was also blatant and clear is that there are 5 regions in the country. And they decided to do the pilot cartographic mapping in 4 out of 5 regions. And they deliberately left out the Northwestern region. And I asked them why. We wrote and asked them why. And they said, oh, no, it's sampling. They are doing sampling. How can you be doing sampling and leave out an entire region? So that these are the tasks that we're facing. And if the party had not set up this census committee in their wisdom, we would not have been privy to all of this information that we are now being privy to by other means, not by directly from Statistics Sierra Leone. They are withholding information from us. So the cartographic mapping, the pilot was completed with 4 out of 5 regions, and then the actual cartographic mapping is complete, but the data, the disaggregated data, has not been published. And the disaggregated data would mean a report on how many enumeration areas has resulted from the process in each district. We don't have that. And last week also, we had information, because after the pilot cartographic mapping and the cartographic mapping proper, the next stage is the pilot census or mock census. Again, they are going to select areas in each of the regions of the country where they are going to conduct a pilot or mock census. Because realistically, we are only 4 months to the census. The census is in the first week of December 2026. We're in the middle of July. So it's only 4 months we have. So that's where we are now. So after the pilot census, then in December, it will be procurement, recruitment of staff, and all of these activities, and then enumeration proper, which is the site census proper, which will take place in December. And as Dr. Richard was saying, the census data can be used for two purposes. It can be used for genuine developmental purposes, and that's how it should be, because if you present the wrong figures, then certain areas will be disadvantaged. You would, for example, send more buses and build more schools and hospitals in Kenema than in Freetown. And you'll have empty schools, you'll have empty hospitals, nobody to use them, because the population figures presented for that area is skewed, it is false, it is fake. So that is where we are now when it comes to the census. And at this stage, I would like to take your questions, if any, or clarifications that you may need. But that's where we are now. Statistics Sierra Leone is not sincere. They are holding information from us, although we are fighting back. And my conclusion is that what they are conducting, like they did in 2021, is a political census. Thank you.